All right. What is going on, guys? How we doing today? All right, it's Wednesday. I didn't do my Facebook Live at noon today. I decided to move it up to tonight. And so we're getting started here. And tonight, what I want to do is share with you 5 tips for creating a blog that gets leads and sales. So, one of the things that I get asked on a regular basis is basically my process. How do I do things? What do I do? How do I do it? And, my goal is to share that information with you. And what's happening, guys, as you come on, do me a favor. Let me know you're watching and where you're watching from. And, of course, share this if you think there's people that will get value from this, and also tag them in the comments. But a lot of people always ask me, like, what is your process? Like, what do you do, Mark? Like, share with me what you do. How do you, make sales? How do you generate leads? All that good stuff. Well, if you followed me for any period of time, I have been using a blog in my business for a long time, over a decade in my business, ever since I started getting going in online marketing. In 2008 is when I actually bought my domain, markharbert.com, and I set up a blog in order to, showcase my content and really have a place that I could call home online. And that was the reason that I did it. And ever since then, I have been creating content on a regular basis. And I showcase it all on my blog. And my blog has been, without question, the biggest asset in my business that I've been building for quite some time. And I believe it's one of the biggest assets that anybody should be building online. Having a blog is not just a luxury. I will say this before I get into the 5 tips. I want to share this with you, that part of the reason it's kind of, nobody really teaches this stuff anymore. To be honest with you, nobody really talks about blogging. I mean, you have maybe some obscure niches that talk about blogging but really in kind of the online marketing space that comes with like affiliate marketing, network marketing, just make money online type niches, nobody really talks about it anymore. And the truth is, I think it's kind of tragic. Because when I got started back in 2008, 2009, marketing online, man, I'm telling you, blogs were those were fundamental. People were fundamentally creating content, and that's what the internet always focused on. The internet runs on content. It's like a car, functions when you put fuel in the tank and push the gas pedal and you go. The fuel is what fuels the car. The gasoline is what fuels the car. Well, the internet is fueled by content. You see, every time you go to Google and you type in, how to do this or how to that, or you're looking for a tutorial of some sort, and what you're going to do is you're going to pull up a whole bunch of sites, and on these sites, for the most part, are all WordPress blogs. The majority of websites out there are WordPress blogs. And so what's interesting to me is that over the last couple of years, it has really been one of those topics that a lot of people don't teach on. And quite frankly, I think it's a tragedy, because it's really a place that is going to create longevity in your business. And a lot of people have moved away from that type of thing. And they have this idea that, blogging is dead, or I can tell you blogging is more powerful today than it's ever been. And I truly believe that, because when the masses are not doing something, and it still is something that is very crucial to the way marketing works, it spells opportunity. People have moved away from that to just building up social media profiles and prospecting on Facebook and doing all these things, and they're not building up their business assets. So there's a couple assets that I have in my business. I have some funnels that I've created, sales funnels. Those are assets in my business. My email list is an asset in my business because I own it. And then you have my blog. And my blog is my, one of those assets that I've had since the very beginning. And so these three major things are the things that it really takes to build a long-term stable business online. And so my goal is to talk more about that. And I am tomorrow going to be doing a training. I'm just going to stick this up for you. All about blogging. I'm calling it the 6-figure influencer method. If you want to register for that training, go to markharbert.com/method and get registered for that, because I'm going to be, sharing some incredible things that I've learned over 12 years of running a blog. And so go over there, markharbert.com/method, and get registered tomorrow night, Thursday, April 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be sharing a lot of cool stuff and things that have helped me over the years with my business. Okay, so make sure you come on over there and check it out. So let's talk about our 5 tips. Okay, so a blog is, again, it's a very important thing. And but there's a few tips that I want to give you that if you decide to do a blog, or maybe you already have a blog, that you do. And, having a blog is important, but part of the reason people have kind of gotten away from teaching it, I'll just be honest, before I get into these, my mind's running a million miles a minute here, but part of the reason I think people have stopped teaching it is because having a blog can be a little bit technical at times. Okay, you have a website, you got to log in, you do these things, but the reality of it is that it's just a little bit of a learning curve. The truth of the matter is, it's just a little bit of a learning curve, just like anything that you do. But the thing is that when you have something that's so fundamental to business and doing and building a long-term business online, it's worth learning. As a matter of fact, it's worth putting together. It's one of those investments in your business that can make a huge, huge difference. Okay, so let's get into the tips. So if you're going to have a blog or create a blog, these 5 tips I believe are very, very important. And I'm going to talk more about these tomorrow on the webinar that we're going to do, the web class, markharbert.com/method. Get registered for that and show up. But here's the tips. So one of the biggest mistakes that I know that people make when they have a blog is that they put way too much crap on the blog, okay? And what happens is there's a couple things that matter on the blog. Now, when you're using a blog, there's the temptation to put all kinds of widgets and little things on it that supposedly enhance, how people utilize the blog so for what happens is I find people put too much stuff on there. So they've got, in the sidebar of their blog posts, they've got all of these things, and what that does technically is it will slow a blog down. So my goal is to keep a blog very lean and very mean. Okay. I want my blog to be very fast and easy. And this is some of the things I'm going to talk about tomorrow on the training. Okay. So tip number 1 is don't load your blog up with all kinds of crap, like a whole bunch of images, a whole bunch of widgets in the sidebar, all kinds of plugins that really, don't have a very specific purpose. And if you're not familiar with what some of these terms are, I'm going to talk to you about that. I'm going to be talking more and more about that because I believe a blog is something very fundamental to an online marketing business. It's one of the number 1 drivers of my business. But I have a very specific way that I use my blog. Okay, when people go to my blog, they don't have a bunch of crap on there to distract them. They either have basically 1 or 2 things that they can do. Read the content, watch a video, or opt into something. And I want it to be that simple. Several years ago, this is back in 2012, and my buddy and I was a business partner, and him and I were both very, very much into blogging. Okay, we were blogging hard. We were getting a lot of traffic on our blogs. And one of the things that we noticed is my buddy was getting about 50% more traffic than me. So, I was getting somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 hits a day on my blog, and he was getting like 3,000 and 4,000. I mean, he was getting a lot. But the interesting part is I was getting way more leads than him, and he was getting more traffic. So we were like, what the heck? So we started comparing, and my blog was like real lean and mean. Like I didn't have a lot of stuff on there. And we went over to his, and he had all this crap on there. You know, all these images, all kinds of stuff in the sidebars, pop-ups going everywhere. It wasn't really, there was no real cohesion to it. So he went through and wiped it all out and really got it, you know, lean and mean. And all of a sudden, boom, all this leads start pouring in because we took away the distractions and kept it very simple. You see, blogging is actually very simple, and people make it tough because they think they got to have all this stuff on there, and it's just not true. Okay, so if you're going to have a blog, don't put a lot of crap on there. We'll talk more about it tomorrow as well. All right, so tip number 2 is not posting regularly. Okay, this is something that you want to do. You want to make sure that you post on a regular basis on your blog. Now, that doesn't mean every single day. It doesn't even mean every single week necessarily. Now, I do a blog post and a video every single week. Okay, on Mondays, I release my blog post. It's a new blog post with a new video, and I'm pretty consistent with that. You know, and for me, I want to create that blog post and that video and make it as best as I can, and then focus on promotion of that content over the course of the week. So I highly recommend that if you're going to have a blog, you post on it on a regular basis. Okay. And, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, it's not a matter of, you know, just getting in there and posting any kind of crap. Go in there, think it through, you know, put a little bit of a plan together on the types of content that you're going to put on there. Now, one of the great things about blogging is that compared to, you know, about 9-10 years ago, when I was really going hard on blogging, and you know, again, I'm still blogging today, is that, you know, if you don't want to sit down and type, the cool thing is now most computers have dictation. So you can, you know, pull up the dictation. Like I have a Mac computer, I can pull up a dictation where I can speak right into the microphone and it'll just type it out for me. So I could speak it out if I wanted to and create my blog post that way. Okay, that's one way that you can do it. So there's so many options that you can do for creating blog posts. But here's a cool way, and here's a cool tip for you to focus on your blog and creating content on a regular basis is if you create one video a week, a minimum of one video. Now, I don't do this personally, but it is a good option if you're looking for a way to create content regularly. If you create one video a week and go over to rev.com and you have that video transcribed for you, you can take the transcription of that video and turn it into a blog post. Okay, and then embed that video in there as well. So that's an option for you that will really help. So you're creating it in video form and you're creating it in written form. Essentially the same thing, but in different formats. Because you'll have people that will watch videos and then you have people that won't watch videos. There's people that like to read. You know, there's days where I am in I'm in a reading mode. I don't really want to watch a video. I like to read. You know, today I sat there for 20 minutes and read this huge article, and it was great, you know. But there's times I like to watch a video. And so having those options for people are great. And so make sure if you have a blog, you're going to post regularly on it. Just set a schedule. It doesn't have to be every day. There's some people that go crazy and do it every day. If you want to do it daily, go for it. You absolutely can. I have just found for me personally that if I do it once a week with a video, I'm much more likely to keep up with that pace. Doing it too much or doing it every day for me is just not something that I want to do. Okay. All right. So that was tip number 2. Let me give you tip number 3 here. And that is if you really want to supercharge your blog posts, add a video to it. Okay. Now, I mentioned about having a video transcribed. If you don't want to do that and you just want to write a post and then put a video in there, I always recommend that you put a video in a blog post. And again, it goes back to catering to both types of people. There are people that love watching videos. There are people that love to read. And so I highly recommend that you do both. And if you'll notice on my blog posts, for the most part, probably 80% of my blog posts have videos in them. So not all of them. There's a few in there that I don't have videos, but for the most part, I have videos in them, okay? So something to keep in mind. Very, very important. All right, so add videos to your blog post. So number 4, and this is very important, and that is throughout your blog posts, you want to have ways for people to join your email list, okay? And this can be links to capture pages. It could be a button that has like a click pop on it. If you go to my blog at markharbert.com, you just check out some of my latest blog posts, you'll notice that I have a button underneath my videos that you click it and it'll have a pop-up form. And it's offering some type of a freebie or an opt-in or something of value that people can utilize. And I have those all throughout my blog. See, my goal is to use my blog as a way to give value to my audience, but also for a way to people to get more value and also join my email list. And so that is a very, very big one. So you want to make sure that you have links or buttons or some things within there that allow people to click off to a capture page or where they actually have some type of opt-in that they can go to. Okay. So that's very, very important because that's the way you're going to generate leads. You can link to certain words within an article that, send people off to a capture page. There's many ways you can do it. Many, many ways. So I'm going to give you a 5th tip here. And this is a really, really cool tip. And it's something that I started doing on my blog. And I really kind of I've gotten a lot of ideas from my good friend Tanya Eliza, if you don't know who Tanya is. But I've gotten some really great ideas from her. And one of the things that I started doing was putting a resources section on every blog post. So if there's certain resources that are like affiliate links that I have that I think would benefit based upon the topic of the actual blog post, what I will do is I will put those links at the bottom of the blog post so that if people find that they want to, if they find those resources valuable, they can click them. It's my affiliate link and they will go off and they can buy it. Now, here's the cool thing that I did, okay? If you have a blog, I found a really cool plugin. And if you're not sure what a plugin is, it's basically something you can install on your blog and it gives it added functionality. So it adds little features or things onto it. Well, I started with those resources that I told you about. Instead of just copying and pasting, I started using a WordPress plugin called Shortcoder. And basically what it does is it allows me to insert little short codes into blog posts so that it will insert the content. If you're not familiar with what a short code is, basically I can go to one place, write anything in there, put a link in there, whatever I want. And then when I'm over on my blog post, I can insert that short code from a place right inside of it, and it'll implant it into my blog. And then when the blog is published, that little part that I typed up will show where that short code is. So the benefit of that is that once I've got hundreds of blog posts and they've got all these little short codes throughout the blog, if I ever want to update that link or whatever it is in there, I can just go back to the plugin, update it in one place, and it'll update it throughout all of my blog posts. So it's a cool way to really kind of streamline a process that will really help you to create content faster. It'll help you to do a lot of things much better when you're using a blog. And so for me, I love it. I love blogging. I highly recommend that if you haven't got a blog, that you start utilizing that. That's for sure. It's definitely one of those things that you want to put some focus on. So those are your 5 tips. Let me just summarize them for you. So don't put too much crap on your blog. If you have a blog, keep it lean and mean. Just remember, I want my blog lean and mean. Okay. And number 2 is make sure that you post on a regular basis. Okay. It doesn't have to be every day. Set 1 day a week if you need to create a blog post. Heck, do it every other week and just make the posts that you do really, really good. Okay. And then, so make sure whatever it is you're posting on a regular basis, add videos to your post. Okay. That is, you're catering to both camps when you do that. You have a video and then you have an article. So it is very important that, you do that. And I have just found that works really, really well. Okay. So number 4 is include links throughout your articles to when you're talking about a relevant topic and you have something that is beneficial, you can link to a capture page or have a button or a link of some sort that either goes to a capture page or triggers a pop-up. Okay. And then of course the 5th one is to use a really, really cool resources section at the bottom of your blog posts where you can, show resources that would are on topic with the actual blog post. So if you're talking about, I'm just giving you an example, video marketing, what you can do is in your posts, you can give that link in the resources section that will give people access to a video marketing software or something like that. Okay. So those are your tips there. So first off, let me just say hey to you guys. What's up, Sadie? What's up, Scotty? Paula, Joey, Katie? What's up, guys? Good to see you. So just want to remind you, okay, if you have not registered, go to markharbert.com/method. Okay. Tomorrow night, April 29th, 2021. I am going to be doing a training called the 6-Figure Influencer Method. Okay. And I'm basically going to talk to you in depth more about setting up a blog. We're going to basically talk about, the benefits of a blog. I'm going to show you how others are using blogs and why they're crucial, why they're so important to the internet. There are stats that prove that companies out there that blog get 67% more sales than companies that don't. I mean, there are all kinds of stats out there that prove how beneficial blogging is to a company's bottom line. And why would that not be beneficial to you as well? And it will be. So make sure you get registered for that. Show up. I've got a huge announcement that I'm making tomorrow. Also, something I've never done before, but I'm really excited about it. But you got to be on tomorrow to benefit from it. Just something really exciting, and I think it's going to give you a massive, massive jump start if you're looking to do blogging. So, which I highly recommend. Again, I've been doing it for 12 years now, since 2008. Just think about the leaders you follow online, and then ask yourself this: do they have a blog? Do they put up blog posts on a regular basis? I can name 5 right off the top of my head that absolutely do. And they're extremely influential people. There's a reason that they do it, because it works. And I would be crazy not to share these things with you. So I'm excited. Get registered, markharbert.com/method. And, it's something that you can benefit. So if you guys have some questions, dump them in there. And real quick, and I'll answer some questions for you. This is definitely an interesting one. And I'm going to put this up here. Give me 1 second here. And let's close these out. And Joey's got a question here. He says, I've been blogging ever since blogging starting. Thing is, I have writer's block for the past few years. Any advice? Yeah. So my advice, to be honest with you, I've had that issue in the past before too. But one of the ways that I've gotten over that is I stop overthinking it. A lot of times when I'm stuck and I can't come up with something to write about, it's because I'm overthinking it. Sometimes I think, oh, you know what? I've written on that before. I've talked about that before. And, I talked about that a year ago. And I find that one of the most important things is I learned this probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And I hate to say how I found this out. but it was kind of on the back of a tragedy. And that, if you guys remember the Las Vegas shooting, okay, there was a shooting in Las Vegas where a guy was up in a hotel room and he shot down into a concert. And one of the things that I had kind of heard after that was that somebody had made the statement that the media, okay, and I hate the media, by the way. Okay, I'm not getting into a debate here about the media or politics or anything like that. But I heard this statement and they said that the media and politicians, or politicians specifically, what they do is they rely on your ability to forget. Okay? So what happens is, let me give you an example. When that Las Vegas shooting happened, for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's all the news talked about. But then all of a sudden, it stops. Okay, everybody's talking about it, and all of a sudden, boom, it stops. And guess what? Nobody talks about it anymore. So essentially, people have forgotten all about it. Okay, and not that I like that or it's good or it's bad. That's not the point here. The point is that when it comes to writer's block, a lot of the times that I've gotten hung up with those types of things is when I think I've already talked about that. I've already blogged about that. And then I remember people forget. Okay? I'm telling you, I could create a blog post today, okay? And then 3 months from now, I could go back to that blog post, update it a little bit, maybe do something different, and then reblog on it, okay, on that same topic, and push it out to my audience. And guess what? There will be people that will think, wow, that's like something brand new. It's like, you read a book and you love it, and you go back 6 months later or a year later and you read that same book, and it's like somebody snuck in and rewrote the book on you. It's like, wow, I can't believe I never saw this before. It's because we grow. We grow in our knowledge. We grow in our know-how. So to answer that question, Joey, it's kind of a long answer that I gave you. But the truth is like, just get out of your own head, because I have to do that as well. Get out of your own head and just write about what you're passionate about, okay? And that's it. So Jamie says, what should we start out blogging? What should we start out blogging? I'm not sure what you're saying there, but when or what should we start blogging about? Really, it's the same thing in your niche, whatever your niche is. So if you are in like the health and wellness niche, what you can do is talk about health and wellness. Same thing you would do when you create a video, you just create it in a written form. Same thing. I think personally, there is a lot of people will say, don't start blogging until this, or don't start blogging here. I personally think you should start blogging and creating content very, very soon, or very, very much within the beginning portion of your online marketing career. If you're just getting started, after a couple weeks that you kind of start to get your groove on a little bit, you should really start to put some focus on creating content. And blogging is a great way to do that. I just want you to ask yourself, how often do you go to Google or whatever search engine you use, and you're looking for answers on something, and do you pull up a website to get the answer? Well, that ought to tell you what it's all about when it comes to blogging, because the goal is that's the same idea as well. Okay. When writing a blog post, another question from Joey, when writing a blog post, should we make sure to add or not add the date we write the blog post? So it's a good question. I personally have the date removed on my website, because what's interesting about that is there's people that they do write dates, but it's interesting how people think when they go to a piece of content and they see a date. If you go to a piece of content and you see a date from 3 years prior, in your mind, you're going to think, well, this is not fresh content. This is kind of old. And I don't want that thought when people come to my blog. I want them to look at the content, see it for what it is, and then, move on from there. And I know about the date thing because I do the same thing when I'm looking for content. I don't, I look at the date. How old is this? When was this put out? And it gives me the idea of the freshness of it. So, if you want to put the date, you certainly can. But what I do recommend, and this is a good thing to do when you're blogging, is that periodically you should go back and update old blog posts. I'm in the process of doing that now. I have tons of blog posts, and I'm going back and I've been revamping a bunch of them. I have been updating them. And what's interesting is there's a couple of them where I've been ranking in the search engines, and I did some updating on the post, and I watch it jump in the rankings just because I've been updating it. So it's a good thing to go through and update your content and keep it fresh. So anyway, those are my tips, guys. Again, I want to make sure that you get registered. I'm going to end this here, but make sure you get registered, markharbert.com/method. Okay. And we're going to be on there tomorrow night at 9:00 Eastern. I'm going to be sharing you some awesome stuff. And I've got a big announcement, something I've never done before, but I think you're going to love it. And if you really, really want to take your knowledge of lead generation and sales up a notch, then you definitely want to be on there because it has everything to do with a blog. I call it the 6-figure influencer method because it is a matter of people who are influential online have websites. They have their own blog, and they utilize that content throughout their selling process in order to make sales and build their list and build their business. And if you don't start thinking of doing this, I don't know. I really think it's a mistake not to have a blog. And the truth is, you don't always have to write the content yourself. You can outsource blog post creation for literally pennies. And so anyway, those are little tips and strategies I'll be sharing with you. But anyway, we're going to end this. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you got value, do me a favor. Like this post. Give me a whole bunch of likes and share it. Click the share button. Share it to your profile. Tag people in the comments if you think they'll get value here. And make sure that you spread the love. All right? Talk soon, guys. Enjoy it. We'll see you tomorrow. Remember, 9:00 Eastern, markharbert.com/method. Get registered. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.